What up guys, Super Metal 983 here bringing you another CD review, and I've got another 2016 release that I urge you to check out if you're into progressive death metal especially. This is your type of album. If you're into progressive death metal and you haven't checked out this album in 2016, then I'll be very surprised. But anyway, let's get straight on with the review. This is what I'm going to be reviewing for you today. Yep. This is the 2016 album from the band Fallujah, entitled Dreamless. This is released under Nuclear Blast Records. Now, loads of you may have come across the name Fallujah once or twice. They are a progressive death metal band from the US, and they play a very ambient, atmospheric, but progressively tight style of progressive death metal. Obviously, but yeah. But the band's got a great discography behind them. I mean, their past couple of albums have been absolutely fantastic for progressive death metal, obviously. You've got, what was it called? The Harvest Womb. That was more progressive death metal, more tech death kind of ordeal going on, in my opinion, anyway. And then you've got their Normandic EP, I believe, which I've not really had that much exposure to, but I've heard that it's meant to be fantastic, but I haven't listened to it, so what can I say? I've only listened to it like once or twice, but I can't remember what it sounds like. And then you've got The Flesh Reveals, which arguably is kind of their breakthrough album kind of thing. That album, quite rightly so, absolutely fantastic progressive death metal release. Very intense, very atmospheric, great musicianship going on, and there's nothing more I can say other than that. It's absolutely fantastic release. I mean, I've got the shirt of the album artwork, so I just need to pick it up on CD when I get a chance, so I'll see what happens in the future. But then we'll get to 2016 with the arrival of Dreamless. Now, in all honesty, I wasn't really expecting a release from them. They signed with Nuclear Blast in 2015. They were still touring for The Flesh Reveals, and they announced, like, oh, we're going to do a new album. And I was like, damn, that was quick. All right, let's hear it. And it got us all the more excited for the album. And then they dropped the first song, I believe it was The Void Alone. And in all honesty, at first I was like, yeah, this is kind of a bit more ambient, a bit more beautiful than I was expecting. But as I more listened to it, and listened to it all the more, rather, I started to find a real appreciation for it and understand the sound, what they're going for, and it sounds very, very good. It's got this majestic atmosphere to it, and it's as if atmospheric death metal to an extent, but not as atmospheric as, say, bands like, say, Insomnium, for example. This is just more real beauty in this music, but you still have that death metal-esque behind it and the aggressive side of it in the riffs, but it can change within like a split second, but it works so well and progresses very well throughout that song. And I was just like, yeah, I need to hear this album when it comes out. And first day of release, I went out and picked it up, and because I was that stoked up for the album. And when I listened to it, I was just like, oh, this is just everything that I wanted it to be. This is arguably, I'd have to say, it's just as good as The Flesh Reveals. I think it's got a different character to it, personally. I think it definitely has a bit more, it's kind of the same kind of follow-up style. In all honesty, it's still got that ambience and atmospheric progressive death metal vibe that they've been going for. But I think it creates a little bit more of a chilled back kind of vibe, but when the vocals kick in, it still wants to rip your face off and feel some aggression, but there's loads of melody in there, and it creates this really cool vibe going on across this album. And that's why I really appreciate Fallujah as a band and what they're trying to accomplish when it comes to creating the Fallujah sound. And I think they've done that, and they're saying, like, right, this is the sound we're going for. You dig it or you don't. Drum work is extremely tight on this album. There's a lot of off-time signatures and some very nice fills in there, and some really good cymbal work, and the drums just sound tight as fuck. And what can I say? The production on the drums just sounds epic, and amazing if you ask me. The bass work, extremely audible, and you can hear every note cutting through very, very nicely, but not in that clicky tone that I've gone over and over with, which is what I don't like about a bass tone, but moving on. But the tone is very nice, very smooth oriented bass, and it cuts through the mix just fine, but creates the heavy tension behind the guitars, and that's what obviously a bass is meant to do. Now the guitar work, the rhythms are sounding very beefy, very heavy tones and very crisp sounding. I really, really like the tone. It's got a great amount of bass behind it, and it still keeps that heaviness, not too clean in most progressive you know, albums. The tone's very clean and stuff, whereas this is clean, but it's still heavily distorted, but still creates this great tone. The lead work is especially good. There's some great atmosphere being played across the lead sections, and there's a lot of great melodies being played on here, and it does all add up to this great atmospheric release. And it's not as if it's like a progressive death metal kind of like style, such as Obscura or Beyond Creation or anything like that. It's, in all honesty, if I was to compare it to something, I would compare it to something like Black Crown, sorry, not Black Crown Initiate, kind of in, I don't know, how, like Fallujah just creating this, it's as if like how can I describe it? It's like, what's that band called again? Oh, fuck what they call it. It's like Insomnium, but just with a bit of a Beneath the Massacre kind of influence and some odd Obscura influences. It's got a lot going for it, and that's what I've always liked about Obscura's sound and musicianship going on, and the instrumentations going behind their records it's just fantastic. And the vocals especially, I think they've got this is what gives it that kind of death metal-esque, is the vocals. The really low vocals, but they're very clear. You can hear every word that the vocalist is saying, and like it's just sort of low, gargly, but then there's some really nice mids being thrown in there just to like kind of spice it up a little bit, you could say. And it really works well with some great lyrics behind there. You can hear everything, as I've just said there. You can hear everything he's saying, and he's just got a really good voice behind him. What more can I say? And as I said, there's some great ambience going on in the synths and the key notation behind and stuff like that. It just creates a great atmosphere throughout the entire record, and it's something you can really relax to, but also like feel like you're having a good time listening to it, and it's still death metal at the end of the day. It's still progressive, but it's still death metal, and it still has a raw atmosphere to it, and it's fantastic in all honesty. I think since this album's come out, and I've struggled to get the words right, but because I've always been comparing it to Obscura's Acrosis, but in all honesty, like between the two albums, I keep juggling which one's better and which one's not. So maybe come year's end, we might have a tie at one place between these two. But I do think both of them have a great atmosphere, and Fallujah at the moment is a little bit better than Fallujah's album's definitely better at the moment for me than Obscura's Acrosis, because I haven't touched Acrosis in about a month or two or something like that. So if you just want something great, progressive death metal that's got some great atmosphere, some great tones going all over, and some well executed just musicianship going on, then check out Dreamless by Fallujah. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's undeniable why they're getting as big as they are, because they are fantastic, and I urge you to check out this album. And I might as well point out the artwork. I, in all honesty, wasn't keen on it at first, but then as I started to look at it all the more in a little bit more detail, I just think to myself, yeah, that is one fine piece of artwork. So well done whoever done the artwork. I can't remember who it was. Cover painting by Peter Morbasha. I'm shit at names, what can I say? But honestly, check out this album if you haven't already. A great release from 2016, and this will more than likely appear in my top albums list. So if you're into any atmospheric death metal, or in any progressive death metal, check out this album. Or yeah, just check out the album and check out Fallujah. For an overall score, I think I'm going to give the Fallujah album a solid 9 out of 10. A solid 9 out of 10. So check it out if you haven't already. Absolutely fantastic release. And definitely pick it up wherever you can pick up music. So I'll see you until the next video. Hopefully we'll get some more reviews done soon. So until then, I'll see you next video. And remember, stay metal. See you later.